For those of you that know, my name is Molly Jane. Molly Jane Robertson. That's what MJ stands for. My family and friends call me MJ, so I also like MJ as my pen name. Anywho, I digress. Today's share is about next level vibes and how this whole like law of attraction and spiritual practices permeating our cultures is really part of the mass awakening and part of the elevation of our consciousness, or rather you could say just expansion of our consciousness, where the consciousness was looking at everything through this level of frequency, this level of vibrational frequency, and now we're moving up to the like this level of vibrational frequency, so we can kind of expand out and see our human perspective from a broader viewpoint, which then allows us to create new things. And it's very tangible, this work, and I think when we first start to read about it, or we meditate on it, or we do a retreat, typically what happens, because of the way we're trained to operate, is that we ingest it mentally speaking. So that's where you get a lot of people getting together and talking about all these high flying spiritual ideas, or all these wonderful, we all get inspired and get really up on it, and then we go back to the real world. We go back into our normal mundane existence, and often what I've observed is, in this transformational journey, we often bounce back and forward. We go yay, and we're like, I have to sort this, yay, and then we have to sort this shit out. And then usually what life will offer us is pretty big transformational shift moments, which can appear when big changes happen out of our control. It can appear when we start to really own and transform our emotions, or just new things arriving in our lives. And ultimately, all this vibration stuff is just you feeling good. So practicing things like acceptance and unconditional love for who you are is a big part of our ability to feel good. Letting yourself off the hook, letting go of judgments against other people, owning and transforming some of your emotions like anger, jealousy, bitterness, regret. Our ability to really look at those emotions as a level of creation is super important if we want to create a new world, if we want to live in a new earth. And here's the juicy glory. When we really own and transform, transformation can happen really fast, and instantaneously we can see changes happening in our world, new visions. And sometimes, yes, that means the whole landscape that we see around us will shift and change, and it might feel really unstable for a while. And then if you just keep going, you end up kind of grounding back down, but on a higher level. So you ground back down and you feel better about who you are, even though you 2 days ago or 3 days ago, you're going through this intense, shifty emotional heartache, for example. And that was my practice. The last 3 months has just been an intense emotional roller coaster, seeking and integrating and letting go, and confusion and chaos, and super duper pain of rejection and abandonment. And then suddenly really culminating into this just 5 days of waking up crying in the night and just I'm unworthy, but then I'm I'm worthy. And so you're changing the story in that moment with the light of my awareness. I'm seeing such deep rooted pain inside me that I'm fuck, I need to get rid of that pain, otherwise I'm just gonna keep causing more pain in my life. So it's holding space for that intense pain. And then literally last night I just dropped into meditation, and it just suddenly was all and there was clarity, and I was just yeah, I love I love, and it's so beautiful to be alive. And in truth, people are amazing and wonderful, and if people are meant to be in our lives, they're in our lives, and if they're not, they're not. And but holding on and going over stories and stuff is, usually we're gonna bottom out on that cycle and be yeah, I just don't want to perpetuate pain anymore, so I'm just gonna dissolve and let go of the pain and let people be who they are, let people be free, because we don't have control over people and their projections. And yeah, there's a lot that we're moving through and shifting through in this world. So us being grounded, super grounded, is important. And that's part of, for me, the next phase of building community and being grounded. It's building an online community and then building real time, flesh and blood community. Because our ability to relate to one another is a big part of pioneering New Earth. So the next level vibes, these kind of expanded vibes, these more loving. Now I have to also acknowledge to you guys that this idea of next level vibes is a massive part of letting go of like the old systematics of enslavement, disempowerment, and corruption, right? So we start to transform those dense emotions. We'll start to see new models, new systems, new communities arising where we can implement and anchor the new energies, i.e. new systems and structures in place that help us have a little bit more holistic view of how to share the resources of this planet. So realize that this work brings us to this idea of the new earth or the new paradigm. So, I could say to you guys that I live in the new paradigm. I'm heart focused. I'm non-hoarding. It's, a lot of the same principles of like the yoga, the eight limbs of yoga, like self-respect, love for other, but also recognize there's no rules. That's also not about defining and segregating community as spiritual or non-spiritual. Alta love is just about love and kindness and sharing and cooperation and abundance for all, and like that, those kind of ethos threads. It doesn't have to be spiritual. It just, because of the kind of 3D matrix mentality, people perceive things like love and yoga as like spiritual. But to me, it's just, again, about love and well-being and joy and our ability to be joyful expressions of who we are. How we navigate that is just a little bit tricky sometimes because we're taught so rigidly to fit in. And of course, in a very kind of primordial way, our ability to fit in is love, is the love that we seek in this world, in this representation of separation. But of course, a lot of us have wounding, those core wounds of the gift of being able to incarnate here. Those core wounds often will have to come up and be healed. And the truth of the matter is, unless every area of our life is in harmony, there's still healing to do. In the last phase for me, the amount of arrogance that I've witnessed, it's so humbling. Because what I see is like my mind wanting to attack people or situations. And then I get really deep inside and I realize I've done the same thing. I'm no better than other. So, yeah, this work is incredibly humbling and incredibly benevolent. And I look forward to enjoying the journey more and more and more with you guys, with the internet and YouTube and Facebook and these cool sites where people like me can still engage and broadcast a message to the world, a message of love and hope and transformation. We can do this. We can change the world. That's how powerful this stuff is, you guys. If you don't like what you see, if you're not enjoying living in your body, reach out because it's possible. I live in a really peaceful, harmonious world. I do, and I'm kind of blown away at how beautiful and expansive and abundant life has become. I'm so lucky. We're so blessed, you guys. We're so blessed. This is so weird, but when I did my ayahuasca ceremony, I sang a lot randomly. I've had a lot of fears around singing, but yeah, I sang, like music came out. And I'll share with you what came out when I was doing the ayahuasca, but it's just this kind of like mantra. I said, thank you for the blessing. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the glory of this beautiful life. And I'm trying to think how it went. It was like, Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the glory of this beautiful life. I hope you enjoyed that, you guys. Thanks so much for listening and tuning in. I so appreciate you guys. You have no fucking idea how much I appreciate you and this platform and all this stuff. Like, I'm thankful. I feel like I've arrived. I feel like I'm home and I can just finally rest in peace and be myself. Thank you. Bye.